Hi, my name is Amy. Today we're going to be looking at the Understanding by Design Stage 2 UBD form and how to fill it out. We're going to be looking at how to determine acceptable evidence. Understanding by Design incorporates three main stages. The second stage is what we are looking at in this workshop and deals with how students will prove they have gained understanding of the items you listed in stage number 1. The first item to identify is what performance tasks will be required of the students. Keep in mind, this form of assessment is only for the one or perhaps two big ideas of your unit. Because it is so time-consuming, both for you and for your students, you will want to choose the performance tasks carefully. They should entail many of the traits listed in this workshop, such as grasp, or the 6 facets of understanding. Make the time you and your students put into this assessment worth it. After you choose an appropriate assessment, listing the individual desired results is key. You should go back into your stage 1 and pull out the transfer and meaning goals, the big ideas you have selected for this unit. Be sure to include all the desired results codes that are associated with the desired learning. The final step is to list exactly what you will be using to evaluate the attainment of your desired results. What specific criteria will you implement as you judge whether your students have truly understood the material? What qualities are you looking for, and what specifically will your rubric encompass? When completed, this section of Stage 2 should have one major performance task for the unit listed. Accompanying it should be all the transfer and meaning goals from stage 1 that will be assessed using this performance or product, as well as the specific criteria that will be evaluated. A well thought out, comprehensive rubric should be used to evaluate this assignment. After completing the section of stage 2 that concerns the performance or product task, the other evidence of understanding will be listed. This other evidence will consist of all the various quizzes, tests, homework, classwork, and every other method you will use to determine what understandings your students have attained as you go through your unit. I suggest taking these forms of evidence one at a time. For each item, you should list specific assignments or activities that students will be involved in. You should include any activity that gives students opportunity to demonstrate the achievement of the results you have listed. You don't need to be comprehensive in your description of the activity, but try to clarify what sort of quiz, multiple choice, short answer, etc., you will be administering. Be sure to list the results codes that each piece of other evidence will be assessing. Some activities might only have one code, while others have multiple codes. Certainly, some codes may be used more than once. Take these codes from stage number 1, meaning, skill, transfer, and knowledge sections. This assures that you will be assessing what you want to assess. For each piece of other evidence, be sure to list the criteria you will be using to evaluate the students. Since it is not a performance product, you should not use a rubric. Instead, specify in words what you will be using as assessments. Examples include Scantron, Quizlet, short answer, multiple choice, and so forth. You don't need to be overly specific with the exact format, but you do need to list what qualities and criteria you will be looking for within the specific assignment you choose. Repeat this process for each individual piece of other evidence you will be assessing throughout your unit. When completed, you will have multiple different pieces of other evidence listed, each with their own results code and evidence criteria. Some activities will have more desired results codes listed than others. Some might be repetitive. There will likely be overlap, as that is how learning occurs. What is important is that all of the desired results codes from stage number 1 are covered by either this section on other evidence or on your product and performance section above. The grading rubric for the performance assessment is the final part of stage number 2. In it, you need to list the various criteria you chose in stage number 1 to be understood by the learner. For each criterion, you need to list what the various levels of what is considered acceptable would look like. Be specific with what exact criteria you are looking for in each level of your rubric. This will make grading easier and will allow your students to more readily understand exactly what will be measured. Once you've listed the criteria, you will need to use specific language and variable yet similar language to convey to your students what the different levels of accomplishment would look like. For example, you could use in-depth for exemplary levels of work, fair for sufficient levels of work, some for needs revision, and little or no for no evidence. Doing this will give you an easier time grading and will clarify for the students what exactly you're looking for within each criterion. The students understand that in order to achieve exemplary levels on criterion number 3, they will need to provide more than 2 or 3 because you've told them you're looking for in-depth levels of the thing criterion number 3 is measuring. Use similar phrasing throughout the rubric, and that will allow the students to more readily understand what you're looking for and to be less confused. It will also allow you to reuse the rubric's mainframe and only change the criterion as you progress through different units. This benefits you and your students. So that's stage 2 of understanding by design and how to fill it out. Come by again in 2 weeks and we will go over stage 3. Have a good night. Bye.